This is our Earth in the distant future, which humans have turned into a huge dump, uninhabitable. In order to preserve the human race, the world authorities decide to send people into space and leave many robot janitors from the Valley series on Earth, so that when they return they can clean the planet of garbage. After 700 years, the Earth is still polluted and robots have built entire metropolises out of compacted garbage. Many of Valley's robots have long since malfunctioned and are rusting away next to the rest of the garbage. But one of the surviving mechanical cleaners continues to do his job properly. But in addition to work, Valley, who had many human qualities, also has his leisure time. He collects different human things, is friends with his only buddy cockroach Hal, watches TV with his favorite movie, in a special way admiring the touch of lovers, and also dreams of romantic intimacy. But he is lonely. On one of his working days, Valley finds a green plant. He transplants it into an old shoe and takes it to his garage, adding a very unusual specimen to his collection. Near the house, Valley notices a laser on the ground and starts playing with it. A spaceship lands on the ground. Another robot comes out of it, which looks newer and more high-tech. Valley watches it curiously, gradually falling in love with it. The white robot scans the mountains of debris and reacts very keenly to extraneous noise, firing its cannon at anything that moves strangely and almost blowing up Valley himself. But after scanning him, she realizes that he is not dangerous, and flies away indifferently on her own. Valley follows her cautiously. At night, the robot goes to sleep, and Valley, trying to win the girl's favor, decided to surprise her by constructing a figure resembling her out of garbage. But she did not appreciate the gift, and continued to look for something persistently. At some point she becomes disillusioned and despondent. Valley arrives, trying to cheer up his new neighbor. They get to know each other. Valley eagerly demonstrated his cleaning duties, but she refused to tell him about hers because they were secret. But Valley learned that her name was Eva. To escape the food storm, Valley pulled his girlfriend to his house, where he started showing her his finds and favorite videos. He also showed her a recently found plant. At this point, something strange happened to Eve. She scanned the sprout, and immediately an automatic program was triggered, which placed it in a container inside Eva, while the robot itself was turned off, putting it in standby mode. Valley tries to wake Eve up, but he fails. He takes her to the roof and begins to nurse her. Valley never leaves her side. He protects her from the weather, takes her on a boat ride, watches the sunset with her, and constantly tries to hold her hand. But one day, when he decides to return to his work, the very same ship returns to Earth and takes Eva away. Valley doesn't want to part with her love and desperately clings to the ship. Once in space, Valley sees a lifeless Earth, with a pile of debris in its orbit. Along with Eve, Valley finds herself on a huge spacecraft called the Axiom. Eva, who is still in the space lock, is taken to the ship's captain, Bob McCree. Valley rushes to get her. On his way, Valley meets people he sees for the first time in person. After centuries in space in front of a tablet screen, their bodies have been deformed to the point where they can't walk. For most of their lives, they never leave their comfortable chairs, and the robots, who also perform all the tasks on the ship, help them cope with all the physical exertion. Valley catches up with Eve. She wants to show Captain McCree the plant she found, but discovers that it has disappeared. She decides that it was Valley who took it. At that time, the robotic helm Otto, which controls the ship, decides that Eve is malfunctioning and sends her along with Valley for diagnostics. Valley is placed in the enclosure and Eva is immediately sent for treatment. Valley is shocked that Eva has begun to be taken apart, and he bravely rushes to save her. Valley accidentally releases the malfunctioning robots from the cages, which relates him to the robot guardian. Eve rushes to her friend's aid. The guards photograph them and put them on the wanted list as particularly dangerous robots. Eve resents Valley. A chase ensues. They manage to sneak away from the pursuit and make it to the lifeboat. Eve wants to send Valley back to Earth, but he refuses to fly without her. Eva and Valley see a small robot that somehow happens to have their plant. The robot puts the boot with the sprout into a capsule and programs it to self-destruct. As soon as the robot leaves, Valley takes the plant, but fails to leave the capsule in time and is sent into space with it. Eva follows her comrade in a panic, giving herself acceleration with a catapult. Valley tries to get out by pressing all the buttons in a row, but he fails. There is an explosion. Eve is frightened, but after a minute she sighs calmly, as Valley has found a solution to avoid his death. Besides, he managed to save the sprout. Eva is overjoyed. She hugs Valley and gives him an electric kiss, which makes Valley very embarrassed. After a bit of romantic flying between the stars, the couple return to the ship and Eva, with a sense of accomplishment, gives the sprout to the captain. McCree asks Eve to show Earth through her eyes, and goes through her memories. On the screen, Eve sees how Valley cared for her during her blackout, and it touched her deeply. McCree is horrified at what humans have turned his home planet into, and decides that they must return to Earth and undo what they have done. But Otto gives it back to him. He shows McCree an old tape where the world president orders the autopilots to never return to Earth because it is completely uninhabitable. The captain refuses to obey Otto, so Otto takes the plant away from him and throws it into a garbage can. Otto attacks Valley and traumatizes him with an electrical discharge, burning his microchips, causing Valley to lose consciousness and fall into the abyss. Otto then disables Eve and throws her off the trail, and locks Captain McCree alone in his quarters. Eve is accidentally activated by the Electro-Mouse. She rescues herself and pulls Valley out of a pile of debris before they are thrown into outer space. Eve tries to fix Valley by scanning the trash and looking for similar parts, but Valley points to a sprout, thus trying to say that the necessary parts are on Earth. Eva and Valley, along with the free defect robots, head to the captain's room to guide the ship back to Earth. Meanwhile, Captain McCree manages to record a video message for Valley and Eve. He tells them that they must place the plant in a special container, a nanodetector. McCree then cunningly lures Otto to his quarters and pounces on him, gripping the clever helm with a dead grip. Otto tries to break free and climbs up with him to the captain's bridge. Just what the captain needed. During the painful battle, McCree manages to activate the nanodetector. But at one point, Otto gains the upper hand. He tilts the ship, throws the captain off of him, and overrides the controls. The helpless humans fall out of their seats and start rolling into one big pile. Meanwhile, Eve saves the human mass from the iron couches flying at them, and the robot helm closes the detector. That's when Valley bravely gets in its way, preventing the hatch from closing completely. Otto disables the mechanism with a taser, and the detector crushes Valley. While the round iron is busy massacring the poor robot, Captain McCree gets to his feet, much to the surprise and admiration of all the passengers who are watching him via video link. McCree grabs the Otto and switches it to manual mode, bringing order to the ship. Eve places the shoe with the plant into the nanodetector that managed to apprehend Valley, and then the ship's automatic relocation system kicks in. The ship enters Earth's coordinates and makes an interdimensional quantum jump, traveling to the planet in seconds. Eva immediately grabs the badly crippled Valley and flies him to his house. She manages to find the necessary parts and get him back in working order, but some things can't be repaired. Valley has completely lost his memory. He has forgotten absolutely everything that has happened to him in his life. He doesn't remember Eve, doesn't remember Hall, doesn't remember his hobbies. Eva tries to bring back his memory with hope, showing Valley different things from his collection, turning on his favorite videos. But all that remains in Valley's memory is the original program of the robot Litterbug. He makes another block of his trophies and leaves. A terribly saddened Eva tries to wake Valley up, but all her efforts come to nothing. She takes his hand and kisses him goodbye, realizing that she has lost her friend forever. But the electric shock from her kiss heals Valley, his memory returns to him, and he is very happy to finally be holding Eve's hand. People have begun to rebuild the planet, the hills are being freed from piles of garbage and greened with young sprouts. Behind the thick layer of garbage, the Earth has turned out to be habitable, and it will remain so if people do not repeat the mistakes of their distant ancestors. What do you think about such a development in the future? I think that such a future has already come because people have a lot of problems with deforestation and ecology. Write your opinion in the comments, as well as subscribe to the channel to watch the best cartoons together.